Now, if you're a subscriber to my channel, you've probably seen me make a few videos now about this BH200 multi-combi HD-DVD and Blu-ray player, as well as standard DVDs as well. So it's been a little bit cold here in England for the last week or so, and it seems to now not be wanting to switch itself on, which is a little bit of a worry. So I'm not sure if the issue is on the power supply board or maybe it's on the main board and it's just not responding to eject or to turning on here. So I'm going to have to pull this out to have a closer look. But before I do, I will turn the power on again and see if I'm talking nonsense. But I'm not. It's just not power on at all. So I'd like to fix it if I can and keep it running, because it was playing discs pretty well actually. So the drive that I've got in there is an LG Blu-ray HD-DVD drive that is supposedly for a PC, but what you can do is you can swap the PCB board inside the drive itself with the one that was in your failing drive on your original machine, and you can get more life. So basically, yes, you can update the drives on these, so that's nice. But it's no good to me at the moment if it's not starting. So one thing I could do is to do the hairdryer trick and just warm up the cabinet here with this sat in here and just see if that gives me any response. And this is a US model, and I do run it off of a step down transformer, and I've also got a couple of other step down transformers which I've tested and I get the same result. So I've isolated the problem. Hopefully it's just at the player. So here I've just got here 120, and I've actually glued that in because I didn't want anyone in the future just to obviously stick a standard figure of 8 cable in there and then blow the thing up. But as you can see, it's very kind of glossy and it served me pretty well actually, up until now anyway. Can't remember how to get this apart, so I'm just going to do that now. Just get the screws out. This is premium for sure compared to a lot of DVD and Blu-ray players. Yes. So inside the actual lid is a hefty piece of metal there. Maybe that's blocking out any noise. The Farrow cage maybe. Main board concerned me because it's got a lot of surface mount capacitors, more than I'm probably prepared to tackle if that is where the problem is. Checking the voltages. I've also got to check the fuse to make sure the fuse hasn't for some reason blown. Capacitors look okay visually, that's nice. There's some voltages along that secondary part of the board. So we've got the primary side, and then here we've got the lower voltages. There's ground as well on quite a number of them. Okay, so we plug this in and we'll do some readings. Keep it that way so I'm not going to be too close to the more higher voltage end. It doesn't seem to be giving me anything valid. Because I've glued this in, I'm just going to have to run it through the case like so. Kind of pop that out of the way while I look at this board. I'm just going to look a minute at just check that. I did get some minor readings off of there. I'm sure it's fine. Yep. Fuse is fine. And before I start, I'll take a few photos as well. I changed the big one. The voltage loss was 3%. Not terrible, but I thought I'd change it anyway. Slightly higher rating, so 16 volts. Now I've just started to test the first of some small ones and not getting any readings at all. So these are 100 UF ones, and they're quite close to where the power goes onto the main board. So I'm going to change these. I'm changing quite a few capacitors. They're not massively out, any of them, but I figure just as well change as many as I can. And the only one I haven't changed is this 200. It's quite a hefty one here. Hefty voltage anyway. Well, 16 volt, but it's got RFX on it, so I'm leaving that. But most of these have all been done, and haven't touched anything on the primary side, so let's get this soldered up. Left two actually on the secondary side of the power supply. I've not touched anything on the primary side. I've not touched any of these SMD capacitors, which could be prone to be going bad. Well, I think if this doesn't work, then we've got quite a few of these along here. As you can see, they might need looking at, but whether or not I can get the right ICs is another thing. But anyway, let's just try powering on. Ooh, that I wasn't expecting. So it was to do with the capacitors. Like I say, none of them seem to be massively out, but maybe all of them together amounted to the board not able to tolerate voltages coming across. So maybe that's what it was. Okay, we've got a disc in here. I don't know what it is. Might be one my son left in. No, it's one I put in. Gremlins. So let's close that up. Yeah, unfortunately that just doesn't want to close on its own, so you have to just give it a gentle nudge. But that looks to be a reasonable result, and I really wasn't expecting it to work. So if you do get a BH200 which fails to power on at all, then have a look at your power supply board. Start looking at replacing some of the capacitors on there. These are the capacitors that I took out from the power supply, and I replaced them with 105 degrees temperature rated capacitors, and some of those I replaced were higher voltages as well. I kept the same UF numbers, but I did change some of them to handle higher voltages. So some of these are 85 degrees and not 105, the ones that were actually on the original board. So as you can see, we have 10 volts 2220 UF, 25 volt 1000 UF, 16 volt 1000 UF, 10 volt 1000 UF times 2, 25 volt 470 UF, 16 volt 220 UF, and then 16 volt 100 UF times 3. Good luck! Well, thank you for watching the video. Please can you like this video? If you're not already subscribed, please can you subscribe? And I will do similar videos to this in the future. Bye for now.